Hi, my name is Michael Bosey. I'm an advisor and content strategist, and I've been running my own business for about the past 9 months. And I've learned a ton in starting a business from scratch. And I thought what I'd do here today was to expose that process a little bit. Where I started and where I am today, 9 months later, they don't really match up. And I thought it was worth it for you, if you're starting your own business, to just expose the process, pull the curtain back, and then maybe you can learn from some of the learning that I've had over the past couple months. And I have to thank some folks. You know who you are: peers, mentors, clients, friends, folks who I've had conversations with over the past couple months that really helped me clarify my value proposition, who I can serve, who I can't, and just helping clarify my business goals. I really appreciate that. All of this is a huge learning process. It's been a lot of fun, but I can't thank you enough. All right, so let's talk a little bit about my business. My business is a consulting business, and it's a media company. I call it Control Mouse Media. And the consulting is meant to help people build a platform, build an audience through a content strategy. Now, the media part of the business is that, and here's the business plan, is that I try to produce a lot of what I hope to be helpful material in the form of blog posts, videos, podcasts, etc., and publish all of those for free in the hopes that it will help a ton of people. And my business plan is that, there may never be a transaction between us, but hopefully you'll get something out of it. And hopefully what that does in the process is it builds my credibility, builds an audience, a readership of folks who might tell other folks about me. So think of it as sort of filling the top of my marketing funnel. And then if you need more than that general help, and here's where the business part comes in, is then you might hire me to be your strategist, your consultant, to help you write, help you gain and earn an audience through producing media or content on your own. And that's the basic plan. And let me give you a couple of assumptions that I thought when I started out. First, I thought that I would help three constituencies. I put this in big letters up on my website in very clear language. I help authors, I help publishers, I help entrepreneurs. This seemed to be a reasonable assumption to me because, one, I was in the publishing arena for 17 years, largely in nonfiction, working with textbooks for most of that, educational materials. And I know the process and the discipline of the traditional methods. I know what goes into making a set of really good content. But also I was on the sort of leading edge of that as well over, about 4 years of that time, working on a new way of publishing, digital first, trying to sort of rewrite the rules of publishing. And it's no secret or surprise that publishing, the industry in general, is struggling with that right now. So really valuable experiment. I learned a ton in the process. Just a really great experience. And then, for about 5 years, the past 5 years or so, I've been an early joiner at a couple different startups. Again, both around in service of authors and trying to produce good content and propagate it. And no surprise, those were tech solutions to the industry's problems, and, had a lot of victories, made a lot of mistakes, and just thought that I could impart both to folks who are trying to build their own businesses. And in addition to that, I work with some young companies here in the Boston area just to help them avoid some of the mistakes that I made along the way. I mean, I just see a set of very common mistakes that are made over and over again by young entrepreneurs. So that was my assumption. My assumption was I could help those three constituencies. And working with each of these has really helped me clarify my value proposition. So if what I'm doing is helping you build a platform, helping you gain an audience through a content strategy, there's a couple of assumptions that makes, right? One is that you want an audience. Not every business needs an audience. Audience different from clients or customers, but an audience that you want to convert into clients and customers. Not every business is going to run that way, right? So the businesses where that's not the case, where it's going to be more hand-to-hand, it's going to be a lot more hand-holding and personal conversations. It's not to say that you don't need content. You surely do for emails and follow-ups and getting your pitch down. But as far as using that content to build an audience, that right there is something that is an assumption that if you're working with me, that you're going to believe in that too. The second thing is about using content. Content comes in a variety of forms. That could be a book, but it doesn't have to be. It's probably going to involve a blog or something similar, though the way that I think of a blog is different than I think than most people think of a blog. And it's almost definitely, in my realm, going to be using social connections to have bi-directional conversations with folks, not the old 20th century spray and pray model. So, and content can come in a variety of forms. This is why I say media, right? This can be video. This can be music. This can be podcast. This can be painting. This can be poetry. This can be anything. However it is, whatever it is that you do that's interesting, that's going to connect with people. And what I do is just help you build a strategy around that. Now, the next thing is it assumes also, this assumption is that you're a person who is an expert or at least has an interesting story to tell. Really important, and that distinction is important because I think people in this new way of doing things want to connect with a person, not with a company or a brand. So it's really important that you have someone who's central, who is trying to be either a thought leader or gain credibility or just be a participant to show that you really care about this thing that you're doing. That can be really valuable. So the next thing is that it, aside from being an expert, it assumes probably that you're a new player as well. It's if you already have an audience, you probably don't need my help, right? Really, I'm probably best deployed where it's you're either starting with a small base or you're starting from zero base and you want to build up an audience. And to me, that audience is really, really valuable. It will be your biggest asset because once you have an audience, once you have earned attention is something that you can do something with, right? You can convert that into something. And that can be as simple as converting that into referrals for your business, or it can be converting it into actual capital in some way. That can be through selling things directly, or it can be through advertising. Once you have an audience, you can actually do something with it. But this whole set of assumptions, given the constituencies that I was trying to serve, is different for each one. And so I'll cover this in more detail for each in the series of videos. But this is really clarifying to me, one, who I can serve and who I should be serving. Two, who I really can't serve, or at least parsing out of those people I think that I can't serve, the ones who sort of believe in those things that I just listed, where that might be a confluence. And just trying to figure out, where it is that I can actually help you, and not working with the folks where it's not going to be a good fit. And this is of huge value to anyone who's trying to run a business in this regard, knowing who you can serve, who you can't. And it's okay if you can't serve everyone. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. In point of fact, the more focus that you have, the better off you are. And these are the sort of revelations that I've had over the past few months. Again, I thank the people who have helped me get here and think through these issues. And I hope that you'll stay in touch. Everything is on my website, which is michaelbosey.com. All my writing, everything there. And I hope to continue to sort of expose the process so that maybe, like I said, you'll get something out of it too.